He still had great footwork, and he actually gave me about 30 points.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine and welcome back to your weekly dose of old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to talk about NBA players that played in the NBA in their 40s. And I want to give you my personal list of the best players that reached 40s in the NBA. But before we dive into that, I want to ask you guys for a small favor. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it before. And also like the video if you enjoy the content. Alright, enough said, let's go. And the first player that I have on my list is going to be John Stockton. Stockton to me is the best point guard of all time, of course with Magic Johnson. But if you take into consideration what he was still able to do at age 40, we can see what a smart player he was. Still running the offense of the Utah Jazz like he was in his early 30s and still being one of the best point guards in the entire NBA. Now the crazy thing is, if he would have received the same amount of minutes like he did in his prime, he almost would have averaged the same stats. He was just that good and therefore deserves to be on this list.
John Stockton needs one assist to break the record that he's now tied with Magic Johnson of 9,921 assists. Stockton with the ball front court left. He looks to Karl Malone. He's got him low. The mailman jumps it. Shot up. It's in. He did it. He did it. A new NBA assist king of the NBA.
First of all, John Stockton is the perfect point guard. Watching his career in the NBA, there's never been a guy, a point guard, a pure point guard, who made better basketball decisions with the ball, ever.
He had the perfect balance of taking shots and passing the basketball. I never thought of him as a pass-first point guard. I thought of him as a guy who was taking the best opportunity every time.
And the next player on my list is going to be Manu Ginobili. Again, a player with an exceptional high basketball IQ. Still coming off the bench for the San Antonio Spurs, Manu would be fired once he stepped on the basketball court. Instant offense and still a deadly weapon. Manu was like a Swiss Army knife. He just had so many weapons in his arsenal even at age 40. When he retired, the San Antonio Spurs not only lost a legend, but also probably the best sixth man of his era. And the next player on my list is a very easy one, the captain, Kareem AbdulJabbar. To many NBA fans, Kareem AbdulJabbar is the best player of all time. And even though I got Michael Jordan on that spot, I can't understand where they're coming from. With the deadliest weapon ever on the basketball court, the skyhook, Kareem was able to be productive even at age 40. And even though he was not as quick on his feet at that point, he could still dominate the post and be a threat to any NBA team. He did continue to play for another season before he ended his career at age 41, still averaging 10 points per game.
They got the bench. They can wear you out down the stretch. Kareem.
And next I have Dirk Nowitzki on my list. Now just like Kareem, Dirk had this unstoppable weapon, his one-legged fadeaway, but not only that, Dirk was also a fantastic shooter from anywhere on the court. At age 40, Dirk was battling his many issues with his body and lost a lot of his mobility. But still he was able to score against any defender, something that he was known for throughout his entire NBA career. Another thing that made Dirk so valuable was the stuff that he did in the locker room, passing the torch to Luka Doncic and helping all the young guys to adapt to the NBA, something that we should not underestimate and overlook.
Turnaround jumper, gotcha's right. A lot of MFFLs, the Mavericks front office staff is good for Dirk tonight.
Well, he got a small on him. We've seen him take advantage of little mouse.
Okay, Dirk catch and shoot. Yes, sir! Nothing better than to see that happen.
Next, let's take a look at Air Canada Vince Carter. With him, I gotta be honest, I was very surprised that he was able to be productive up until his early 40s. In his younger days, he relied heavily on his athleticism, which is why I thought he would be done in his early 30s. But Vince proved me wrong and turned into a shooter, which made him even more valuable in his later years. He played for many teams, but always proved to be a valuable asset for every single club he played for. He retired at the young age of 43.
Guys hang around. And this is these next 2 minutes, man. You really got to make a difference here.
Oh, that'll help.
Here's Carter. Vince Carter. 3-point attempt for the Heat. They do have 16 triples in this game. Loose ball. Len gets it. Missed it. Hammered back in.
Thank you very much, Mark. Dirk, Vince, you guys are 1 and 2 on the old men of the NBA list. Why are you guys still hanging around?
Well, I still love the game. I love to compete. Like we started from back in many years ago, and I think that's what we're taught. You just see guys play the game for the love of it, not for the money. It's not for the money. I mean, we've made a lot of money in our time, but if we can still compete in this level, we get the opportunity to do it, why not?
Next on my list, I have the mailman, Karl Malone. If this list would be a ranking, Karl probably would be my number 2 guy. After playing almost 20 years for the Utah Jazz, where he averaged 20+ points almost every single season, he decided to go for a championship one more time. And he signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he would play alongside Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Gary Payton. Unfortunately, that season would be a disaster because of many reasons. But one thing was for sure, Karl was still hooping. At this age, he was still one of the best power forwards in the entire NBA and showed what a great player he really was, especially in the 2004 playoffs where he was the best player on the Lakers team. After a serious knee injury, Karl decided to retire at the age of 40. But just to give you a glimpse at how good Karl Malone was in the playoffs, let's take a look.
The game. Malone quickly answers.
Very important. Karl Malone is going to get wide open shots this entire afternoon. Baskets, and they have to score in transition.
Can't just win it on defense totally. Of course, Van Gundy, the defensive guru, as Malone puts it in again. So Karl Malone right now has a total of 6 points. He has 6 of the 10, and we're tied at 10. Jackson falling down. That creates the steal opportunity for Payton, who feeds Malone, and the 2 guys each playing for a lot less than they could anyplace else, coming to win a ring, hook up for that basket.
And the next and last player on my list is going to be Michael Air Jordan. And again, if this video was a ranking, Jordan would be my number 1 guy. Not only because he's my main man, but also because he's the only guy who would average 20+ points at age 40. When he came back to play for the Washington Wizards, he did not play for 3 entire seasons, and still MJ was one of the best players in the entire league. And this again is something where you can see that Jordan's basketball IQ was incredible. His fundamentals were incredible. He was competitive like no other player. This dude was just special.
He dropped 51 points against the Hornets. He became the oldest player in NBA history to score at least 40 points in a game. He hit a game winner to beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. I'm not talking about MJ in Chicago. I'm talking about MJ in Washington. Because you kids just don't know how good Michael Jordan was with the Wizards.
Once the cigar comes out, it's like he's already lighting the victory cigar before the competition. I had a chance to play against Michael Jordan, but it was when he had the Wizards uniform on, so it wasn't quite prime Michael Jordan. It was 40-year-old Michael Jordan.
Jordan, to Laker. Nice pass. Michael Jordan.
I remember he still was a phenomenal athlete. He still had great footwork, and he actually gave me about 30 points.
Jordan over Pierce. He's got it. Michael Jordan equaled his season's high, 31.
So it was like my 3rd year in the league, and he was still probably one of the top 10 athletes in the game at the time. Yeah, he trash talked a little bit. You know, I remember him hitting the fadeaway, telling me you can't get to that.
Pierce, defending Jordan. Fall away, he hits. 29 for Jordan.
You know, he really had a rivalry with Antoine Walker, being that Antoine Walker was in Chicago, and You know, these guys played against each other in pickup games in the summer, and, you know, him and Antoine Walker really went at each other quite a bit. Antoine, you know, he's one of the best trash talkers that ever played the game, but I think that game he wished he had just not said anything.
All right, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you feel you have a better list, please let me know which players you feel I missed on this list. All right, I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.